This is the Daily Drop
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
with Ads and ShrimpZoo. From Daddy and Daddy talking geopolitics, science, and anything and everything under the sun. Every weekday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And now, here's your hosts, ShrimpZoo and Ads.
Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, the 7th of September, 2020. We are south of 60 days until the election, and we are gearing up towards the end of summer here. I hope everyone is enjoying the last rays of summer that are upon us as we head into the fall. Talking Aaron J. Danielson, victim of gunshot wound to the chest by Michael Reinoehl, who was killed by federal marshals, just a day or two ago after giving an interview to Vice about his interaction with Aaron J. Danielson, where he pretty much admitted that he shot him and killed him on the Vice interview. I watched the interview and watched several interviews about the incident. I've seen the video many times. Shrimp, what is your take? Good evening, first off, my man. Here with my co-host ShrimpZoo. What's your take on this whole Michael Reinoehl situation?
It's very unclear, really, what's happened. All the eyewitness reports vary from the news reports. It's not entirely clear if he pulled the gun out, if he had a handgun or rifle. Some news outlets say a handgun, others say he had a shotgun, others say that he had a semi-automatic rifle. Some news outlets are saying he opened fire, some are saying he was in a car, then he got out and they were shooting. The only thing that seems to be clear is he was firing some type of gun, and the U.S. Marshals that arrested him were firing. I think they probably were going to kill him no matter what, and they probably were not going to try to take him in peacefully, it seems like. It's also not clear if he was Antifa, because he's never said, I'm a member of this Antifa group. Like, he wasn't like, I'm part of Rosewood Antifa, one of the original Antifa groups in Portland. He's never said that. He just said, I'm 100% anti-fascist, but I'm 100% anti-fascist. Everyone in America is anti-fascist unless you are a fascist, which I'm assuming there's not that many fascists. So you can't really say somebody's Antifa if they say they're anti-fascist, because I'm anti-fascist and I'm not Antifa. Mussolini was a fascist. The Nazis were fascist. I guess I don't really know what happened. It's just, he's probably going to become a martyr. And there's new documents saying that they got into an argument prior, and that Jay Danielson, they're saying he had a gun on him too when he was killed. It's just, I don't think we'll ever really know what happened, I guess.
Yeah, I saw that too, that Aaron J. Danielson did have a weapon on him. It appeared that no cartridges were ejected. The gun was not used, as far as they could tell. After the fact, there was counting the number of bullets in the magazine. So it looks like he didn't have time to respond. It is kind of unclear, the video. It's not easy to see exactly what happened. The guy who live streaming didn't have the best camera. Probably had an iPhone 6s Plus like myself. But it does seem to me that your intuition may be right there, Shrimp, as far as they were going to take him dead.
Yeah, he was never going to be taken alive. That's how it looks to me. And I'm not pro-Antifa, I'm not pro-rioting or anything. Just looks like to me they did not intend to take him alive.
Do you think they're going to release the body cam footage?
No, they
Do you
never
think they
do.
should?
If there is body cams, I assume that there probably is. They'll probably say there isn't. The Breonna Taylor case, they also said there was no body cameras until photos came out with the cops with body cameras on them. So I doubt they will.
Yeah, I think they should release the footage, and I hope people demand that they do release the footage,
So
regardless of how you
Melissa,
feel
Melissa in the
about the
comments
guy.
is saying Antifa usually wears black, and this guy did not look Antifa to me either. He looked like a hipster.
He said he wasn't Antifa, but like you said, he said he was anti-fascist,
And
which,
Republicans and the right will blow that up because I'll say the
yeah,
same thing as he did. I'm 100% anti-fascist, but I'm not Antifa. That
mm,
everybody is, even every single mega supporter, unless they're a fan of Mussolini or the Nazis, they're anti-fascist. Doesn't mean that you're Antifa.
right, like the political group, right? And
Yeah, because he dressed in like colorful clothing and stuff. He wasn't in black bloc.
yeah, and regardless of how you feel about the guy, I think it's imperative that accountability is there for the marshals to release that body cam footage.
Yeah, I mean Jay Danielson was killed more in a cold blood style than he was.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
what
what
it seemed like to me. I mean, we don't even actually know what happened between, Reinoehl and the feds.
And we don't even know if he was really in the army or not because they're saying no, he wasn't.
Oh, I didn't even see that. It said he was in the army?
Yeah, he was claiming to be a veteran or something, or he was in the military. And the CIA is saying there's no records of it.
Well, the neighbors who were there at the time of the shooting, they said there was something like 40 to 45 shots total. They
Yeah,
said there was like, I think 10 or 15 shots, then a pause, and then like 20, 30 shots, something like that. So lots of bullets were shot during the exchange, which again, we don't even know exactly what happened. Yeah, it's a hot topic right now for sure. It's quite foolish of him to do that interview, would you say, with Vice? And did you see how many dislikes there were? It was insane. It was like 29,000 dislikes on the video.
oh
People just
really?
like disparaging Vice, saying they're just full of propaganda, which,
I
uh,
mean, I think it's good that that came out. Would you rather have had not him dead and not that video came out? It's
no, I
better
guess
that
that's right.
it's
Yeah,
way better that that video is out. Should we be completely in the dark and have no news at all? I'm glad the video is out and at least he got to say what he said because this
yeah, no,
is
I agree. I'm just saying it was kind of stupid of him to do that.
oh yeah, that's probably how the police caught him.
I don't know, because I guess by the time of the posting, he had already been dead for half an hour. So I'm sure they found him just by his phone or the internet, whatever. I don't think that Vice necessarily helped the feds to find him, but yeah, it was foolish regardless. Yeah, I agree. I think it was good that we got that perspective from him, before he was killed. But I don't know. I don't want to believe
He's
that
not
they
he's not
were
a
just
martyr.
no, even though he may be martyrized.
He
I
might.
hope they weren't shoot first mentality. I hope that he shot first and then they killed him. But if they're not going to release
Yeah,
the body cam footage, how can you be sure of that?
it's
So
unclear.
yeah. But QAnon, I don't know if you saw this. They were listed by the FBI as a domestic terror threat. Uh,
QAnon because there's a congresswoman in is it Georgia, I think, that is Trump is supporting, and he tweeted the other day support for her, and she's a QAnon um supporter, I guess. I don't know if she's in QAnon, but
yeah, I
and
saw that.
then
I think you're right. I think it is
in
Georgia. Yeah.
in Portland we have the person running against the current mayor right now is an Antifa member or Antifa supporter.
No. Oh my goodness.
So we have Portland on one side with the Antifa, somebody running to be the mayor of Portland who's Antifa, and then we have on the other side of this political spectrum someone who's QAnon. So Antifa and QAnon are both infiltrating the government. And I mean, to an extent, Boogaloo Boys has too, because there was a Boogaloo boy who killed some cops.
Really?
Yep.
Apparently, Aaron J. Danielson was a part of the group Patriot Prayer. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're, I guess, similar to Boogaloo Boys, or basically
I wouldn't. I'd
I don't
say
know.
they're.
How would you describe them?
I wouldn't say they're Boogaloo Boys. Boogaloo Boys are basically Black Lives Matter supporters who want to overthrow the government.
But they're right leaning.
I would say they're not right leaning. I'd say they're in the middle, and they're, if anything, they're maybe libertarian or anarchist.
Okay.
If anything, Boogaloo Boys is going to end up fighting the right wing militias on the side of like pro black gun groups and BLM and Antifa. Boogaloo Boys is more likely to join Antifa than Mega Militia.
I had a conversation with some people earlier this year who work for the government, and I was saying that if things do go to civil war, it wouldn't be grays versus blues or anything like that. I don't think it would be kind of what we're seeing right now, where you have factions fighting each other, multiple factions, right? Each vying for autonomy, and it reminds me of Yugoslavia during World War II. It was just a crazy country during World War II, because you had basically three groups vying for control. You had the royalists who were loyal to the crown, the communists, and then the fascists and the fascist collaborators. So I predicted that you would see something similar in America, where you have various groups. You know, it wouldn't be one. It wouldn't be just two groups. It would be multiple groups, different factions, different ideologies.
Did you see Louisville, Kentucky today? The NFAC.
No.
There's a black gun rights group, and there it appeared like several hundred of them, all armed with assault rifles. It was pretty intimidating because the way they were marching was more military-like than the mega militias. They were just like assuming positions and walking more military-like.
Like they're like goose stepping, or
yeah, and doing just like military type movements when they were walking, and it looked like they were patrolling the city, like they were taking like specific points in the city and holding them. It looked very militaristic, I guess.
how would you describe that group from what you know? I haven't heard of it. What's their name again?
NFAC is a black gun rights
NFAC.
group. They're basically the counter movement to what is the gun group in America? I forgot.
Oh, NRA.
Yeah, they're the black counter movement to the NRA.
Okay.
Their leader said they wanted to burn America down. A lot of people didn't take kindly to that, but he said
You think they're racist?
He just said, he clarified later, he said he wanted to burn the system down. Like, he didn't mean literally, but some people are taking it as a literal threat. He may be arrested. I'm not sure if it keeps going.
This old man says that NFAC is black KKK-like, or very racist.
I'd say they're wrong because there's a lot of white people in there that I've seen.
Oh, there are? Okay.
The so KKK, a black person could never join. They're not racist.
Yeah, that's true.
The same as Black Lives Matter. I mean, they're almost all black, but...
Would you... let's pivot. I saw a comment here, Shrimp, that Trump has said he is pushing the vaccine. Is that true? I haven't heard that.
That Trump is trying to push the vaccine?
Yeah.
Trump is pushing the vaccine for political reasons. He keeps saying, he just tweeted today that the vaccine might be available before a very special date. That's like a pretty much exact quote from what Trump said today. He keeps implying that the vaccine will be ready by November, by the elections. He's using it politically.
You
And
don't think he
now
means it?
I think he means it.
Yeah.
I think there's like 4 or 5 vaccines in phase 3 trials right now, which is the last phase before they can be given out and they're approved. However, all these vaccines require refrigeration. They have to be shipped frozen and stuff. It's not logistical. A vaccine that has to be frozen and like
Yeah.
treated like that, it's basically impossible to implement that
Yeah.
worldwide or even across the entire United States. We don't have a system to do that.
Yeah,
He'll
that would
try to
not be
push it,
feasible.
and a fast track vaccine for anything isn't going to be safe just because we don't know if it's safe. It's not enough time. He'll try to release it though.
Any product that is rushed in manufacturing is going to have inevitable flaws in it, regardless of what the industry is, right? Whether it's cell phone covers or vapes or wallets, whatever. It's if you rush the manufacturing and the making of the product, it's going to have some faults that otherwise would not be there. But I'm definitely not taking one.
We're also making it in a brand new way where we've never made viruses before. Typically, we inject viruses in the chicken eggs, grow them in the chicken embryo, and then we kill it with UV light or heat or something. This one, we're just like taking parts of the virus and like putting them in a suspension. We're not making them how we've made other vaccines before, so it's an unknown.
Yeah, it's a non-replicable experiment so far.
And I'm pro-vaccine basically. For most vaccines, I'm pro-vaccine, but this one I'm not taking. Not until I see millions of people take it over years and I know it's safe.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously believe in the science of vaccines, but anything that becomes capitalized or corporatized, there's going
Or
to be
politicized. I mean,
yeah.
a month ago, Democrats were pro-vaccine. Now all of a sudden, Democrats are anti-vaccine.
Why are they? Wait, Democrats are saying that? Not what? Just because of Trump?
Kamala Harris and Biden have both said they don't trust Trump with the vaccine, that they'll only trust scientists. And they're
Yeah.
skeptical about a vaccine in November, and they're saying it won't be safe to take by then.
Do they think that Trump
true.
is himself making the vaccine in his bedroom or what? I don't even.
Well,
Seems
if
like
you look at
whatever Trump says, they're just going to say the opposite.
yeah, if you look at China and Russia, they have vaccines they're using already. But I'm not sure how safe those vaccines are, and it doesn't seem like they work that great either.
Yeah.
I think Trump will fast track a vaccine regardless of what it does to people, if it's safe or not. Even if it kills people and makes them handicapped, and he knows that, he'll release the vaccine before the elections. Now, nobody will get the vaccine because they'll have to mass produce it, and they'll have to build up like an entire infrastructure to ship virus or vaccines around America and around the world that can be stored in the correct temperatures. It'll be a long
Why
time.
do
It'll
you
be 2
think
years.
Trump will do that? Why do you think Trump will support a vaccine regardless of how dangerous it may be, just for trying to get votes?
Yeah, for money. If he comes out with the vaccine before the elections, he'll become president again. That's the thinking.
As it stands right now, well, before we do that, we got a question here from John Howard. What about the Russian vaccine? You got Putin over there saying that he has the vaccine that can take care of the virus no matter how much viral material is within someone's body, which I don't know if you trust the Kremlin or not.
I've read some journals and stuff about it and about the test results. Basically, the majority of people ended up getting like flu-like symptoms, headache, joint and muscle pain, fevers. It basically gave them a weak like virus infection or something. It still made almost everybody pretty sick for like a week. There's not enough studies out yet to say how effective it is, though.
Yeah.
But Sweden now has the lowest death rate in Europe, and like they're going down to the lowest cases. They may have herd immunity, and we don't really know how long the immunity lasts. So, I mean, we may not even really need a vaccine because Sweden seems to be doing fine without one.
Yeah, that's it seems to me too. They don't really need one over there either. Again, Melissa saying they just awarded the UK with millions for the SARS vaccine, and the children ended up with a sleeping disorder. Those who took the vaccine, which I was not aware of, but I don't know, man. It's just like Big Pharma is so dirty. It's hard for me to really trust anything that goes through that, especially when there's no liability for vaccine makers in the U.S. If you get messed up by it, it's too bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's nobody's fault but your own, which is just messed up.
That's why Bill Gates tests all his vaccines in Africa and India, and that's why India kicked the Bill Gates Foundation out of India because too many of his vaccines were messed up.
Yeah, and people are saying that he was doing that on purpose to call Indians. That's what Charlie Robinson said in my chat with Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily believe that. I haven't looked into it enough. I just know that Bill Gates has had a lot of bogus vaccines that haven't went very well.
Let's. I wanted to mention Belarus again. So there's basically two opposition leaders. One has fled the country. Svetlana Sikhanovskaya, a woman who I don't know. I think she's in Lithuania now. I'm not really sure what country, but she fled. And
Is she in
another one.
Poland? I think they drove her to the Polish border today.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then another one, Marie Kolesnikova, a Belarusian protest leader. She was abducted into an unmarked van, and the former lady, former opposition leader, she's in exile, as I said, but the latter Belarusian protest leader was, like I said, abducted into an unmarked van, and they're seeing this more and more over in Belarus with people getting kidnapped and tortured in police custody. And you have kind of the women taking a stand over there in Belarus, turning out in large numbers to protest the police state. I wonder if that's because they have a little more immunity from the police than the males do, because certainly I think worldwide police are definitely a lot more ready to use violence against men than women. So you got women in Belarus taking a stand to protest in large numbers over there. And related, hundreds of U.S. soldiers partook in military exercises in Lithuania, which Lithuania is a member of NATO. Dozens of Abrams tanks crossed the border from Poland, and Putin has promised Lukashenko military support, which I would imagine Lukashenko isn't particularly excited to accept necessarily, because that would mean some sort of paternal relationship with Russia, not that one already exists, but it would probably give Putin even more control over what is going on in Belarus. But I can't imagine things will end up non-violent for Lukashenko in the long run. But also, the U.S. has flown two B-52s, like the B-52s from like World War II, close to the Russian border in eastern Ukraine. So all that stuff going on over in Eastern Europe, Belarus, Ukraine, Poland, Lithuania. So again, military exercises by U.S. soldiers, hundreds of them in Lithuania, just right next to Belarus there.
Do you think that they will succeed in overthrowing the government in Belarus, or do you think the protests will be squashed?
I don't know, man. I want to see Lukashenko fall, I would say, and I think anyone who is a supporter of democracy and who is against tyrannical dictators and tyranny in general would likely be against Lukashenko. That being said,
he's basically he is a fascist.
At this point, yeah, in effect,
That's
it's a
that's
fascist
where you
dictatorship.
that's where you actually need Antifa. They, Antifa is born out of Europe too, out of opposing nationalist fascist dictators.
Yeah,
That's the reason why Antifa was born. Pretty legitimate reason.
yeah, and it's basically in effect a fascist dictatorship over there in Belarus, with 80% of them voting for Lukashenko when it seems to be almost the complete opposite, where you have
Yeah,
80,
those
80.
protests are pretty wild over there.
I
Like
haven't
tens of
seen.
thousands.
Yeah, there's lots of people turning out. I know, and
They're
like I
not
said,
rioting, it's just the numbers.
yeah, right. They're pretty peaceful. Like I said, the women are coming out in very great numbers. I think because they realize that they're probably less likely to be abducted than the males are. But you do see a lot of guys coming out of police custody with bruises all over their bodies. And there's video of that I have seen as well.
Yeah. I
But
think it's gonna be squashed basically.
yeah, I don't see it happening, man, unless they have a real military uh,
I think Russian
organized presence, right? Resistance,
yeah.
military organized resistance. Which, again, if that happens, I think Russia might
They'll
likely.
send in they'll send troops in
And
if they
then
don't
and then how
already.
would the U.S. Respond? With their
The
military
same
exercises
the
going
same
on
way
over
they
Crimea?
the same way they did Crimea, where they sent in troops to make it look like they were Ukrainian soldiers.
Yeah,
No badges. They did it super slick and secret, and they just did over time. It escalated. I think they'll just pull the same thing off how they did with Crimea. Belarus, or at least part of Belarus, could even become part of Russia.
yeah, and that's what Lukashenko does not want. So you got Lukashenko hoping that things don't go kinetic for that reason, because I think no matter what, he's going to lose if things go kinetic, because either he's going to lose control to the Kremlin, or he's just going to lose control to the populace, which I
And
think,
Russia won't let that happen.
yeah, I
Russia
don't
won't
think
let.
so either.
They're not going to
It's
let
a
there be
tough
a
situation
liberal
over there.
Western country there.
Yeah, it's just a tough situation over there for the people of Belarus. Our thoughts and prayers go out to them, and really tough time over there. It could be worse for us over here. We are not in a fascist dictatorship like they are. So thoughts and prayers go out to our Belarusians, our patriots worldwide over there. Whew. So other random news. In the country of Mauritius, Mauritius, is that how you say it? Mauritius. Anti-government protests over there as well. And this is actually due to an environmental happenstance, an oil spill. Several thousand tons of oil have spilled into the sea and have caused dolphins to die. The Republic of Mauritius. Let me see
Yeah,
how
I
to.
saw that. I saw them carrying like dead dolphins in a protest.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. Dolphins are one of the smartest animals in the world. They share spindle cells, which is like a cell that uh, is kind of indicative of consciousness that I think some whales have, and then we have as well, and I think some
Yeah.
monkeys have too.
Yeah, I
So,
think we're basically in the Arab Spring 2.0 right now.
but worldwide,
Just
would
the
you say?
whole yeah, yep. Kind of how it happened with the Arab Spring in North Africa. I think the whole world's going to be experiencing that. Not every country will fall, but there's going to be a lot more Venezuelas and Lebanons out there in a couple of years from now.
What do you mean by that, Shrimp? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Basically, I think what's going to happen to America is it's going to become a failed state. There's not going to be a civil war where there's two armies and they're doing some huge battle in Gettysburg again. There's not going to be New York tanks facing off against California or Texas tanks. It's just gonna be block by block, militias guarding this neighborhood, Black Lives Matter guarding that neighborhood. Every downtown will be Antifa, Black Lives Matter. Every suburb will be MAGA supporters and militias. There'll be no go zones if you're black or you're white or you're this party or that party. And we'll just divide along religious and political and militant factions, just
Yeah.
how Venezuela and Lebanon did. Our currency will probably drop.
I want to go over back to India versus China. I didn't mention it in the description box or the title, but 5 Indian youths were abducted by Chinese PLA soldiers, according to their family members. This is from the disputed territory of Arunachal Pradesh, which is currently an Indian northeastern state, but is not recognized by China. And these two countries are separated by the McMahon Line, so-called after a British officer, Arthur McMahon, back in 1914, helped to broker an agreement between those two countries, or excuse me, between colonial India and Tibet. And of course, this was not accepted or recognized by the Chinese. And as I said, they do not recognize Arunachal Pradesh as India's, but their own. The territory of Arunachal Pradesh is about the size of Austria, very large, at 83,000 square kilometers. And this dispute over this territory has caused bloodshed in the past. Namely, the 1962 Sino-Indian War, also called the Indochina War or the Sino-Indian border conflict, which resulted in a Chinese victory. I don't know much more about that particular conflict. And despite that, Wikipedia saying it was a Chinese victory, India still retains de facto control over that region. And regardless, still not recognized by the Chinese. So why would they be kidnapping Indian youths? Are they trying to provoke something from the Indian soldiers?
I think I know why.
Why is that true?
Pakistan also gave China some land during that war too, which India is mad about.
Yeah.
Well, there's a bunch of different borders in India, China, Pakistan area. India definitely wants control of the borders surrounding Pakistan. That's one issue. That's kind of separate from the Chinese issue. That's a religious issue. They want there to be more Sikhs and more Hindus, and Pakistan wants the land to be Sunni Muslim land. So, but with China, there's a lot of Tibetans and like different ethnic groups that are in China that China controls, and they're basically committing genocide in China with the Uyghur Muslims and the Tibetans. They keep moving Han Chinese into these territories, and like in Xinjiang, China, they have policy where the Uyghur women have to marry a Han Chinese man. They send them to concentration camps. They kill them. They have modern day concentration camps there. China wants control over all these different ethnic groups. They don't want Uyghurs getting out and going to Turkey and telling their story. They don't want Uyghur Muslims on the border. They want to control all those ethnic groups. There's Tibetans that live in northern India. They don't want a handful of Tibetans on the other side of the border. They want control of all of Tibet, all of those lands.
But they are allowing the Han Chinese males to impregnate the Uyghur females.
Yeah, because they want to ethnically cleanse those areas to be Han Chinese. Like Xinjiang used to be like nearly 100% Turkish Muslim. Now it's only about 40%. They're not even the dominant ethnic group in their own homeland.
Wow.
And they're mostly a Turkish group.
And do you know, Shrimp, in the Uyghur camps, is it just males or is it all people?
No, they put pretty much there's a policy of all children go to these camps. The children live in the schools. They're blocked off with barbed wire, sealed shut. And then the parents, not all the time, but the parents generally go to concentration camps. They call them education camps. They go there for several years, between like 2 to 10 years. And they're indoctrinated with Chinese propaganda, Chinese communist propaganda saying, we're all the same. China's the best. China doesn't want there to be different ethnic groups and different religions in their
Yeah.
country. They want to just like have everybody be the same.
Yeah, they're all about homogeneity. That's their goal, I think.
I don't
Ideologically, racially.
I don't know how far these border incursions are gonna continue to last. I think they'll probably stop because trade with India is pretty important.
Yeah. So it sounds like they're pretty much only giving like a free pass or immunity from getting persecuted to the fertile young females of the Uyghurs. Is that accurate, what you said?
Yeah, and none of these lands are fighting over. They're all pretty much worthless land too. You can't. None of the land is good for agriculture. It's just like mountainous, rocky terrain. That's why Pakistan gave some of their land away to China because they couldn't even access it, and it was just there's no point in them having it.
Okay.
So they're kind of fighting over crappy land too. There's nothing they can really do with it besides put some military bases there.
Yeah, it's more so about the strategic use of it than the agricultural use of it, I think. But we're at 36 minutes here, Shrimp. Before we sign off, I just wanted to thank Carrie Johns, for the donation earlier today. I think it was earlier today or yesterday. So I really appreciate that, Carrie. I haven't sent you a thank you message yet. So I just wanted to do that here. And thanks everybody for tuning in. A lot going on this podcast. We talked about Michael Reinoehl, Aaron J. Danielson being killed, everything that's going on in Belrus with the dictatorship over there and the protests there, and in Mauritius as well. Mauritius with the oil spill, the NATO wargaming or military exercises in Lithuania with those Abrams tanks being sent over the border from Poland, Putin's support for Lukashenko, Indian youth being abducted, and then border disputes between the Pakistanis, Indians, and Chinese, which is very interesting as well. So if people have suggestions for stuff to cover, guests you may want on our show, please let us know. Any final thoughts before we sign off today, Shrimp?
I just tell people to be prepared like I always do. Just make sure you get your supplies where winter gets here.
And winter is coming fast, people. Fall is nearly upon us. Please enjoy the last rays of sunshine from the summer of 2020. Very eventful summer, to say the least. Go subscribe to ShrimpZoo on YouTube. His channel is in the description box, as well as his Twitter and his Patreon. Additionally, our podcast channel is in the description box below as well. Please get us to 1,000 subs, people, and then we can start monetizing. We are going to be broadcasting every single day. And give a sub to me, too, as well, if you're so inclined. It's over there in the bottom right. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Give us a sub. And stay tuned until next time, people. Stay frosty. All the best from the Midwest and Buffalo, New York. And we will see you all tomorrow night.